queremos.
And that's a real shame when folks be throwing away a perfectly good white boy like that.
Welcome to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Yeah, welcome to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. We're online, KWAMTheVoice.com. The Listen Live link is in the top right corner. You can also stream the show live on YouTube. Get the YouTube app and search for Nation of Jake. That is the channel. You can subscribe, get notifications. So anytime we go live, you will be notified. There on YouTube. We're also on Facebook and Twitter at Nation of Jake on this Thursday, August 29th, year of our Lord, 2019, sunny and 85 degrees. High of 87 today in this glorious afternoon in the Memphis metro area. Now with this kind of weather, really no problems in Memphis today. Everything is running smoothly. So we're going to talk about all the problems everywhere else in the news. We got these deaths from vaping. Yes, vaping is now deadly. It was considered a safe alternative to smoking, but now we're getting a lot of reports about illnesses in young people. The vaping industry is now under fire for marketing to children, and there's actually been the first reported death from vaping. So, look, my only advice to you is that if you're looking for a safe alternative to smoking, that would be not smoking. All right? Inhaling anything other than fresh, clean air on an 85-degree day in Memphis is probably a bad idea. And we'll get into that in a little bit. I had the vaping talk with my daughters yesterday. That's why I bring this up. We've got a Cat 4 hurricane headed towards Florida. And that's right, Hurricane Dorian could be a Category 4 storm by Labor Day, and it is barreling towards Florida. We've already seen the devastation of some hurricanes down that way. Hopefully, something will happen and it will dissipate before it hits Florida. I don't know if nukes will be involved or not. Maybe we could try it, maybe just this once. Maybe nuke the hurricane before it gets to Florida. Another presidential candidate is dropping out of the 2020 race. We will talk about who that is and why. I've got a pretty good reason, just top-line reason, is because this person was never going to be elected president. And I'll give you a hint, she knows it. She probably knew it from the beginning. And also, the good question is, what happens to the money? You raise all this money, you run for president, you drop out of the race. What happens to the money? That's what I want to know. So we'll get into that as well. We've got more false reports in the news, or some might call it fake news, and the news cruise full of exciting news. So tons going on in the Nation of Jake today on this Thursday, August 29th. The big story, the top story of the day, the bombshell, I guess, is that the Inspector General has determined that former FBI Director James Comey violated FBI policies. You remember the whole deal? James Comey, the liar and the leaker. And Donald Trump said that James Comey lied and leaked memos and information, and then he was fired. After he was fired, he did more lying and leaking. You know, James Comey. Remember James Comey? I mean, because honestly, these stories, they've got no resolution. You know, just a month and a half ago, we're talking about Robert Mueller and the Mueller hearings. And then everybody's talking about, all right, now what's going to happen now? And now what? Well, now the IG and the DOJ and William Barr, the Attorney General, they're going to go after the origins of the Mueller investigation, which James Comey was involved with. And the more I go through this, it gets really frustrating. All right, and I'll tell you why in a second. First, the top story of the day. A scathing Inspector General report released Thursday said that fired FBI Director James Comey violated Bureau policies by drafting, leaking, and retaining memos documenting private discussions with President Trump. The Justice Department's official watchdog concluded that the memos Comey kept were in fact official FBI records and said Comey set a dangerous example with his actions. Now, it's just like where you work. Let's say you work at FedEx. You draft memos, you send emails, you come up with ideas and action plans, and then you get fired. Let's say you get fired. You don't get to keep that stuff. It seems unfair that all your ideas and all your work, it doesn't get to come with you, right? Well, it doesn't. It doesn't. Just like when you work at a radio station like I do, all the bits and all the shows that you do, all the audio, I mean, unless you have that written into a contract that says you can take it with you, you can't take it with you. It remains property of the company. If they are paying you to come up with these ideas or these plans or write these emails or write these memos, and you do this stuff while you are an employee of a company, the company gets to keep all that stuff. You get to leave, and you don't get to take any of it with you. The same with the FBI. If you're the FBI director and you get fired, and you can get fired, you serve at the pleasure of the president, you pack up your stuff, your personal effects. All right, you clean off your desk, and you get to take the pictures of your family. All right, you get to take your Derek Jeter signed baseball. You don't get to take memos, even if you wrote them. You don't get to take that stuff. Official FBI documents, they stay with the FBI. You get to take those clacker balls that are on your desk. That's what you get to take. You don't get to take the official FBI documents. But it goes on. The report reads, by not safeguarding sensitive information obtained during the course of his FBI employment, and by using it to create public pressure for official action, Comey set a dangerous example for the over 35,000 current FBI employees and the many thousands more former FBI employees who similarly have access or knowledge of non-public information. While the findings of the probe were forwarded to the DOJ, the department has declined prosecution. And isn't this par for the course? Really, I mean, James Comey himself, before the 2016 election, if you'll recall, stood in front of God and everybody and said that Hillary Clinton, in handling her emails, acted with extreme carelessness. Extreme carelessness, which most people who speak the English language would say that that's negligence. Extreme carelessness, but he didn't say negligence because negligence carries criminal action, like criminal negligence. So he goes in front of the cameras and states that, yeah, Hillary Clinton acted with extreme carelessness, and she put information out there that shouldn't have been there. She opened herself up for hackers, and what she did was wrong and acted with extreme carelessness, but we're not going to prosecute. Just like with the Mueller report. The Mueller report was, we found no evidence of criminal obstruction, but we also didn't exonerate Donald Trump. Well, it doesn't rise to the level of being a criminal act, these acts of obstruction, but it doesn't exonerate him either. And there's no recommendation on prosecution. So Comey declines to prosecute Hillary Clinton. Mueller declines to recommend prosecution for Donald Trump. And now we've got the DOJ outlining that he violated department rules. The 83-page document outlined a series of violations, including that he broke FBI policies in the Bureau's employment agreement by providing one of the unclassified memos that contained official FBI information, including sensitive investigative information, to his friend with instructions for the friend to share the contents of the memo with a reporter. All right? Further, the investigator general determined that Comey kept memos in a personal safe at home after his removal as director, and in doing so violated FBI policies and his FBI employment agreement by failing to notify the FBI that he had retained them. The IG said Comey again violated rules by providing copies of the 4 memos he had kept in his home to his 3 private attorneys without FBI authorization. So this guy's like breaking every rule there is with regards to these memos. But he claims he's not a liar and a leaker. You know why? Because all those rules he broke, he broke all these rules. I mean, what he did was wrong. But then he seizes on one tiny little part does James Comey, that investigators found no evidence that Comey or his attorneys released any of the classified information contained in any of the memos to members of the media. Now, in a tweet, James Comey argues that this vindicates him. Yeah, he says, I don't need a public apology from those who defamed me, but a quick message with sorry we lied about you would be nice, Comey tweeted, adding, and to all those who've spent 2 years talking about me going to jail for being a liar and a leaker, ask yourselves why you still trust people who gave you bad info for so long, including the president. So he's like, no, they said I didn't leak it to the media. Are you kidding me? The stones on James Comey. The report finds that he leaked the memo to a friend with instructions for the friend to share the contents of the memo with the reporter. But because James Comey didn't hand the memo himself to the reporter, he handed it to another guy and said, hey, hand that to that guy. Seriously, that's how he's willing to parse this. He's willing to defend himself because he didn't personally leak it to a reporter. He leaked it to a guy and then told the guy, hey, give that to that reporter. No, I didn't leak it. I didn't leak it to the media, but you leaked it, so you are a liar and a leaker. And look, above all, like, James Comey is a turd. All right, he's a political hack. He has shown this time and time again. All right, you say, oh, he's an FBI guy, and he's certain. No, he got paid. He got paid, and then he wrote a book, and now he's a guy who goes on and makes appearances on talk shows, and he gets paid. I'm sick of people saying, oh, he served and served. Shut up. Unless you work for free, you didn't serve anybody, you got paid. Okay, this goes back to something that George Carlin said a long time ago. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. Think about all the impropriety, all the crimes that have been committed, but nobody gets prosecuted. Hillary Clinton, extreme carelessness, not going to prosecute her. Donald Trump, there were instances of obstruction, but they didn't rise to the level of criminal charges. But it didn't exonerate him either. And now we've got James Comey, stealing FBI documents and then leaking them to people with instructions to leak them to the media. And then the DOJ is not going to prosecute. Does anybody get prosecuted? I feel like John Goodman from The Big Lebowski. Am I the only one about here who gives it about the rules? Am I? I don't know. Look, it seems like somebody would get prosecuted. You know who gets in trouble? You know who gets in trouble? Us. That's right. If you're them, if you're a Comey, if you're a Trump, if you're a Clinton, if you are one of these people who are in the club, then you don't get in trouble for breaking the rules. Nobody, you know who gets in trouble? Michael Cohen. He gets in trouble for breaking the rules. Michael Flynn, he gets in trouble for breaking the rules. Edward Snowden, he gets in trouble for breaking the rules. Julian Assange gets in trouble for breaking the rules, for leaking. Reality Winner, she gets in trouble for breaking the rules. All these people who aren't in the club, they get in trouble. There's serious consequences for you for breaking the rules. But no, not for Jim Comey, not for Hillary Clinton, not for Donald Trump, not for the people who are in the club. So, next time you're on Twitter, or next time you're at a party, or next time you're on Facebook, and people start arguing left and right, Democrat and Republican, liberal, conservative, whatever, just remember, it's not about that. It's us versus them. They operate with a different set of rules than you or I. Take Edward Snowden. Perfect example. This was a contractor for the NSA, so he wasn't part of the NSA. Whistleblower. Where is he? Exiled somewhere now? I don't know. He was in Russia for a while. He was in Ecuador or something like that. That guy can't even come back home. But yeah, Jim Comey, because he was the director, he took all these FBI documents, leaked them, gave them out to people. Hey, give this to a reporter. Oh, I see. I didn't do it. He did it. See, I leaked it to him. He leaked it to the reporter. The stones on Jim Comey to use that. I mean, literally paper thin separation from having leaked to the media. And he's going to hide behind that as saying, see, vindicated. It's very much like the Mueller report, isn't it? It's like in the Mueller report, you've got all these instances of obstruction. And they say, hey, we're not going to prosecute him, but it also doesn't exonerate him. I mean, it sounds a whole lot like this doesn't exonerate you, Jim Comey. Good Lord. But yeah, think about it, man. Just like George Carlin said, it's a big club and you ain't in it. It should drive you insane. And we'll talk more about this with Ron Hart. He will be joining us around 2:20 as he does on Thursdays. Hell, I got to text him. I forgot to text him. I don't know if he's available today, so don't quote me on that. Even though I said it, don't quote me on it. In a little bit, I'm going to tell you about my Twitter harassment of Mayor Jim Strickland. I've been on him. You know, I think that there's something to it. Jim Strickland needs to come out on the national issues. How can he be an effective mayor of Memphis if he doesn't take a stand on Russian oligarchs? We're going to explore that, as well as, the vaping death. It's coming for you. Coming up next, though, we've got a Democrat presidential candidate who once was, now has dropped out. But there's the matter of $800,000 left over in the campaign war chest. What happens to the money? I want to know. You want to know. We'll find out next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
When's the last time you looked at the windows in your house? Not through the windows, but at the windows. Really looked at them. There's dirt, streaks, buildup, smudges, fingerprints, paw prints, spider webs, dead bugs. There's little white speckles. I have no idea what they are, and who knows what else. Now, cleaning all the windows in your house makes a big difference, but it's also a big job. That's why you need Just Windows Home Services. Just Windows has been taking the pain out of window cleaning since 1992. Just Windows cleans all types of windows, storm windows, screens, skylights, interior, exterior, upstairs and down. Now, I know I told you the company is called Just Windows Home Services, but they do a lot more. Roof and gutter cleaning, pressure washing, mirrors, blinds, ceiling fans, light fixtures, chandeliers. Look, if you've got hard to reach areas of the house, then you need Just Windows Home Services. Call for a free estimate, 751-3934. That's 751-3934, or get them online at justwindowsmemphis.com. That's justwindowsmemphis.com.
If you're a baby boomer here in the Mid-South area, this message is for you. We've designed a brand new radio show with you in mind. It's The Retirement Income Doctor, hosted by Dave McAdams of the McAdams Group. Each week, Dave will teach you retirement strategies that have worked year after year, decade after decade, in any kind of market. That's right, the Retirement Income Doctor will teach you these strategies. So join us Saturday mornings at 10 for the Retirement Income Doctor.
Looking for a cool way to get a new home comfort system without breaking the bank? The Advantage program from Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning gets you a high-quality home comfort system for one low monthly rate. There's no money down, never a charge for repairs, and seasonal tune-ups are free. Right now, get a new home comfort system as low as $99 a month, and no additional charges ever. Call Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning today at 866-EXPERTS or visit ServiceExpertsMemphis.com.
For expert service guaranteed, call 866-EXPERTS.
See website for license details.
You and your friends and associates are invited to attend the Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair, Thursday, September 19th from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Brown Missionary Baptist Church, located at 7200 Swinia Road in South Haven, Mississippi. There will be health exams, flu shots, entertainment, and this year, there'll be food trucks on site to allow you to enjoy lunch while you're there, and a demonstration on healthy living by the Silver Sneakers. The Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair is promoted by the DeSoto Times and the Best Times. Mark your calendar for September 19th. You'll be glad you did. Don't miss Maine and Mulberry Live every Thursday morning at 8 right here on KWAM The Voice. Maine and Mulberry Live explores the crossroads of modernization and small-town tradition, exemplified in Collierville, Tennessee. Host Keith Essery sits down with local entrepreneurs, thriving businesses, city officials, and thought leaders right here every Thursday at 8 a.m. Tune in and learn how a town comes of age with economic growth. Maine and Mulberry Live is brought to you by John Green and Company Realtors, building neighbors for 40 years.
My son Levi was so proud to turn 3, but he will never get the chance to turn 4. I'm Nicole Hughes, Levi's mom, and during a family vacation, he slipped out a door unnoticed and drowned in a pool. My son was missing for less than a minute. Drowning is quick and it's silent. it's also preventable. Please talk with your pediatrician about how to keep your child safe.
Hi, this is Jim Shoemaker. Join me next Wednesday at 8 a.m. and again on Saturday at 9 a.m. with my special guests where we talk about everything financial. If you have questions for Talk Money, email them to talkmoney@shoemakerfinancial.com. That's Wednesday morning and again on Saturday at 9 a.m. on Talk Money, The Voice, KWAM 990 and FM 107.9. Helping you make the most of your money.
It's a beautiful day in Memphis, Tennessee.
Yes, have some.
Yeah, here we are at the studios of the great KWAM, The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990. Here in the nation of Jake, it is sunny. It's about 85 degrees. If you're not outside doing something, you're blowing it, man. You're blowing it. It is a good day to be out on the golf course until you realize, oh, crap, I'm on a golf course. Have to pay money to walk around and be bored for 3 hours, but it's fine. If you're into golf, it's a great day for it, but otherwise, get outside, get some sun. What is that, vitamin E you get from the sun? I don't know. So we're going to just assume everything's fine in Memphis, and we will focus elsewhere for today. We've got another 2020 Democrat dropping out of the presidential race. I think Hickenlooper decided he was not going to continue. Instead, he's going to run for Senate. That's right, just run for something. You know, that's it. Just take all your money, run for something, right? So Hickenlooper's out. Swalwell's out. Who else is out? There's some other people who are out. I mean, there's some people who should not be in. That's actually most of them shouldn't be in. But, last night we got word that New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand is out. She will not continue. She will not be president of these United States. So there are a few questions here. All right, number one, why? Well, she'd barely registered in any polls. I mean, barely at 2% after spending $10 million. All but $800,000 of a $10 million campaign war chest, which you got to sit back and reflect for a second. There are people in this country, enough of them, that Kirsten Gillibrand was able to raise $10 million by telling them that she wanted to be president. Imagine that for a second. That is staggering. $10 million, which, by comparison to a Joe Biden, that's not a whole lot of money, but it's still $10 million. Kirsten Gillibrand was able to get $10 million out of people by doing what exactly? What was she going to offer them? I mean, I think that her main campaign plank is that she was going to travel around and lecture white women on privilege. That was kind of her deal, is with the feminist candidate. Now, it's not for lack of trying. This woman, Senator Gillibrand, burned through $10 million. In August, she made an all-out push to stay on the debate stage, dumping $1.5 million in TV and digital ads, blitzing through the early voting states and making the rounds on cable news. But this big spending plan yielded a single 2% poll showing. Her once mighty campaign account dwindled down to $800,000. Oh my God. Think about the ways that money could have been used. I mean, hey, I'm sure that the TV stations, radio stations, websites who got the big buys from the Gillibrand campaign, they took the money and they were like, you want to do what? You really want to give us this money to, okay? I mean, it's your money. Well, it's the money that you grifted from all these people that you've convinced that you should be president. At one point, Gillibrand looked on paper like a legitimate, if not formidable, presidential candidate. One with flaws, but also the pluses of a perfect electoral record and a distinctly feminist message that looked like a compelling counter to Donald Trump. Yeah, I don't get it. All the excuse makers are saying that Gillibrand was drowned out by the top tier, in the same way the rest of the candidates who are still in it and aren't those top five are being drowned out. It's a sign for all of them they're probably not going to break out either. So the Betos and the Cory Bookers, the Tom Delaney's and the Tim Ryans, Are they still in it? Oh, Jay Inslee also dropped out. Got to give him credit where credit's due. So Gillibrand joins the parade of losers, and there's going to be a lot of them. She could never get enough oxygen. None of the candidates outside of just a few really can, said Jeff Link, an Iowa-based Democratic consultant. She just never got a real look from anybody outside the people she personally met. That's right, because how can you? Gillibrand's challenges weren't limited to standing out in a crowded field. From the outset, she was often asked about her political transformation, going from a conservative House member from upstate New York to a staunchly liberal senator. Well, yeah, that's a good question, but essentially it comes down to, I had to serve my constituents when I was representative because they voted for me, but when I'm a senator, I'm getting votes from all of New York, which is a more liberal state. I mean, all those votes in New York City, New York City's going to turn it. There's 8 million people in New York City. You can't be for gun rights. You can't be pro-life. You can't represent the people in Troy, New York. You have to represent all New Yorkers, which means you have to be a different person altogether and compromise your principles, which hers, obviously, are easily compromised. She was repeatedly pressed on being the first Democratic senator to call for Al Franken to resign. Gillibrand defended the move, noting that 8 women had accused the Minnesota Democrat of sexual misconduct, but said, if a few Democratic donors are angry because I stood by 8 women, that's on them. So she stood firm in her denouncement of Al Franken, which is kind of weird to think that's being cited as a reason that Gillibrand crashed and burned. I think it's more so because she was a horrible candidate for president. There's nothing really presidential about her. Her record, she's never run anything. She's never done anything. How about that? Now, a couple of questions do remain. With Gillibrand out, who gets her voter? Who gets her voter? Who gets the one person who was going to vote for Kirsten Gillibrand? That's a good question. How does this affect the race as a whole? Can you divide by 0? How do you divide up her 0% of support in the polls? Who gets the 0%? Who benefits by Kirsten Gillibrand being out? Tulsi, maybe? Maybe Tulsi Gabbard, who the DNC is trying to screw out of a spot on the debate stage. I don't know. The real question, though, is $800,000 left over from her $10 million campaign war chest. She essentially just went out and just threw away $10 million. And then she was able to keep $800,000 cash, but she doesn't get to go spend it on anything she wants. She's officially out. What happens to the money? This is a question not just specific to Kirsten Gillibrand, but also Jay Inslee and all those other losers who have dropped out. She finishes with $800,000 cash on hand, according to her campaign. That's down from the roughly $8.2 million she had on hand at the end of June. Oh, what? She had $8.2 million at the end of June. So in July and August, 2 months, she burned through $8.2 million. Now, Gillibrand's campaign committee is permitted to donate the funds to charities, spend the money on another presidential candidate, transfer to a local, state, or national party committee, donate to state and local candidates, or transfer to a future election campaign committee. That's according to Corey Gladstone. Check that. Goldstone. Corey Goldstone. That's a spokesperson for the Campaign Legal Center. A candidate is not permitted to use the remaining funds for personal use. Well, she's already a senator, so she doesn't need to run for anything. So I guess in addition to the one voter or the 0% of support she has, she could give the money to Tulsi if she wanted to. I guess that would be like, hey, I'm going to endorse Tulsi Gabbard for president, and I want to donate the money that was donated to me to Tulsi, which, I don't know, seems like that could be ripe for abuse. You could have multiple candidates go out and raise a bunch of money only with the intention of dropping out and giving that money to another candidate. It'd be kind of like a ruse. Now, at least 3 candidates besides Gillibrand have dropped out in the past few weeks. Seth Moulton. I didn't know that Seth Moulton dropped out. I barely knew he was running. He dropped out with a little over $720,000. Seth Moulton was able to raise $720,000 plus whatever he spent. Former Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper had $836,000, and what he'll do is he'll use that to run for Senate in Colorado because he knew that there was not going to be a President Hickenlooper. And then Washington Governor Jay Inslee had nearly $1.2 million. They're watching whether Hickenlooper will use the money for his Senate campaign, which, why would he not? He's trying to flip the U.S. Senate seat out there occupied by Cory Gardner. 5 of the top candidates each brought in more than $10 million in the second quarter. Gillibrand brought in $2.3 million, although her campaign boasted that 95% of contributions were under $50. That's the thing. They always like to, we don't have a lot of donations, but they were all made like $27. That's Bernie's whole thing. We raised so much money, but it was all people giving us $27, which of course would mean that there are so many people with the $27. And all that really means is there are a lot of people who are going to watch me lose. So there you have it. They can't go spending it on shoes. But I'm almost certain that there's a way that they can benefit from the money. Say Gillibrand wants to give her money to Tulsi. And then Tulsi says, hey, Kirsten Gillibrand, why don't you come out and campaign with me since you gave me the $800,000, and that way you can ride on this plane we can charter, and then we have to have money for food so they can go out and go buy crab legs and go eat at fine dining restaurants or Chinese buffets. Whatever they want to do, there's ways to benefit from that money. I'm almost certain. There's always a loophole. If there's a will, there's a way. And by the way, you're not going to get in trouble. Seriously, when's the last time somebody went to jail for campaign finance stuff? I mean, maybe Dinesh D'Souza did, but that's because he's a regular person. He's not in the club. Kirsten Gillibrand is in the club. She's a senator. I mean, these people never get in trouble. So I would say Gillibrand, all right? Give your one voter to Tulsi. Your 0% of support can be divided equally among the other candidates. And then you've got $800,000. Give that to a candidate that you think you can just kind of hang out with and get stuff paid for. I think it's just kind of unspoken. Give it to Beto. He'll take you to the skate park. You guys can go stand on some tables at a fine dining establishment together. So that's the story with the 2020 presidential race. We'll get into a little bit more of it later with Joe Biden forgetting Barack Obama's name. This is the best one. This is the front runner by double digits, doubling up the next behind him. Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. Joe Biden's like at twice as much support. Maybe that's where Gillibrand's voter will go. Maybe it'll go to Joe Biden. I almost forgot his name. He's forgetful too. Don't look at me. In a little bit, we're going to talk about, MSNBC is a mess, aren't they? My God, they're reporting stuff about Russian oligarchs and having to retract it. We'll also talk to Ron Hart in a bit. And also my Twitter harassment of Mayor Strickland. I think he's getting upset. We'll get into that. But first, we got to talk about the vapists. Oh, yes. There's been some aggravated vape going on in the Mid-South area and in the country. And they're about to crack down on all this, on the vapists. We'll talk about them next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
CBS News Update. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has just issued an emergency declaration that covers all of the state's 67 counties ahead of the weekend arrival of Hurricane Dorian.
If you look at different possible tracks for this thing, it is possible that you could have impacts even in Northwest Florida. And not necessarily saying that's the most likely, but that's certainly possible.
Dorian could be a very powerful Category 4 storm by the time it hits the U.S. coast. And CBS's David Begnaud says the exact point of landfall is still up in the air.
They're now relocating teams that had been sent to Puerto Rico and moving them here to Florida. The official I spoke to just a moment ago said, listen, if we learn nothing else about Dorian in the Caribbean, it's that it moved around so much we couldn't really be sure where it was going to go until less than 12 hours before landfall. So they're going to pre-position teams in Tallahassee, 2 teams in Atlanta, have them ready to move up and down the southeast coast as Dorian gets closer.
CBS News Update, I'm Pam Coulter.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Dan Groban and Phil Menard at Servant Advisors Group call this mailbox money. It's the monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They want to help remove stress from your retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Servant Advisors Group at 855-260-1000 for a complimentary retirement analysis with strategies that could help your nest egg provide you monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call right now, 855-260-1000. Servant Wealth Management is a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Servant Advisors Group, LLC. Insurance licensed in Tennessee, Mississippi, and in Arkansas.
Your dog is a furry member of your family, and they deserve the highest level of care. Dogtopia has award-winning daycare, boarding, and spa services. They are the safest, cleanest, and most transparent dog daycare and boarding option for you. The best part? You can check in with your dog anytime on the video stream on your phone. Dogtopia, located at Carriage Crossing. Find out more at dogtopia.com to schedule your dog's best day ever.
This is Clark Howard with our continuing series on how the trade conflict with China may affect you and your wallet. It's been a really moving target with Christmas, and now we have tariffs broken into 3 categories for this year's Christmas season. The president has now done a carve-out for a lot of items that people closely comparison shop, particularly electronics, some cell phones, will no longer be subject to tariffs for this Christmas season. Clothing, many other items, still will have tariffs on them this Christmas season. And there was an analysis I just saw in the Wall Street Journal that women's clothing is a category that's going to be affected more than any other category, with significantly higher prices potentially for Christmas shopping. So this may be a year not to buy anybody clothes as a gift.
The backyard's looking great, Rob.
Thanks, man. I was planning on adding a deck, too. Know any good contractors?
Why don't you just ask Home Advisor?
Home what?
HomeAdvisor.com. You just tell them about your project and they match you with local pros that can do the job.
Nice. Now, how much does it cost?
Oh, Home Advisor's totally free to use. Plus, you can read customer reviews, check pricing, and book appointments for free.
What's the website again?
HomeAdvisor.com. Or just download the free Home Advisor app.
Home Advisor.
Hey.
Hey, Bench, what are you doing?
I'm rubbing my Blue Emu on.
Were you ready to go fishing?
Fishing?
You said we were going fishing this morning.
I have 10 Gold Glove awards.
Oh, here we go again.
Johnny Bench doesn't go fishing.
Yeah, I know.
Johnny Bench goes catching. Blue Emu supports healthy muscles and joints. Blue Emu, it works fast and you won't stink. Available at nationwide retailers and Amazon.
All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. Online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube, Nation of Jake on YouTube, and also on Facebook and Twitter, at Nation of Jake. Follow me on both social media platforms, and I'll see you on there. I'm texting Ron Hart to 20 good. There we go. Usually I text him in the morning to see if he's available to do the show. I like to check in with Ron Hart each Thursday. He's got a new column out, I believe, talking more about Sleepy Joe Biden. It's just weird, man. The guy's forgetting everything. I mean, we knew he was a gaffe machine. He's like, oh, just Goofy Joe. It's amazing people just forget about all the sniffing of the children. They're okay with an old man who sniffs, but an old man who forgets things, which that's normal. I mean, old people forget stuff. But it's getting like somebody needs to pull him aside and be like, hey, dude, just don't do this. Just, say something like, you'd rather just go be a full-time sniffer instead of running for president. You can't do all the sniffing you want to do with all the cameras and the media around and all the scrutiny. So you're just going to go retire to a secluded life of sniffing children. Yeah, I think that people would respond well to that, Joe. Just go ahead and do that. I did want to get into this. Vaping. All right, I don't get it. I know that people are into it. There's vape shops everywhere. I went to a bar one night, and it was like vape night. So there was a lot of like date vape going on. Like people would come in, they'd have their little vapor pens or modules or whatever the hell they are, these little vape machines, and they'd walk around like, it's like a soap on a rope, but it's like a vapor pen on a rope. They go around comparing and talk about the latest technology with the vaping. All right, and so the other day while I was driving, I saw somebody in front of me in a Cadillac headed out east on Poplar, and every so often you would just see this big cloud of vapor coming out of the car. And so my daughters, who were also watching the vehicle, they see this big plume of vapor, and my 5-year-old, Olivia, says, Daddy, that person is smoking. And I said, well, they're actually vaping. And so my kids know the dangers of smoking, and they equate any kind of cloud of smoke to smoking. Olivia's already called out one person for smoking. We were at a grocery store, and there was a gentleman who was in front of us in the checkout line, and Olivia, she may have been 4 years old. Olivia pointed out, Daddy, that man smells gross. And she said it that loud, well within earshot of this guy. The gentleman turns around and says, I'm sorry, I smoke. And he was apologizing, even though I was like, well, my daughter should not be yelling that you smell gross in the middle of a grocery store. That was rude. That said, yeah, you nasty old man, you do smoke. You smell like an ashtray, and my kid's here inhaling your disgusting scent. I mean, why did you start smoking, dude? You had to know it was bad for you. You're an older guy, so back in the day, I guess you didn't have all the warnings like the Surgeon General. They're going to put the black lung on the packs. I get it now. That said, it's just like with this vaping today. All these people are thinking, oh, it's just water vapor. This is a safe alternative to smoking. Look, the only safe alternative to smoking is not smoking. I mean, that would be the logic. But instead, oh, hey, get this little machine that heats up water mixed with a chemical to such a high temperature that you're able to inhale it. I mean, was it boiling water? Close to it, right? I mean, when does the vapor start? Like what temperature? Now, we've already had all these stories about vapor pens and e-cigarettes blowing up and blowing the teeth out of people's heads. And so if that's not enough, if the possibility of you sucking on a pipe bomb isn't enough to get you to quit vaping, how about the fact that you're getting sick? There's all these new diseases and ailments that are happening as a result of vaping. At least 193 potential cases, including one death, have been reported to the federal government this summer. Yet since the first case was logged in June, agencies have released no product recalls, nor any details or broad public awareness campaigns about which specific vaping products might be causing the illness. This is a largely unregulated deal. But think about it. Think about it. You're inhaling water vapor, which is mixed with some sort of chemical, some sort of flavoring, some sort of concoction. You're breathing this into your lungs, and you're exhaling it. You're doing this over and over and over. It should register in your brain that this is probably something I shouldn't be doing. Just like when people smoked way back when. Oh, yeah. Oh, what's in this? I don't know. It's good, though, right? No, actually, it tastes gross, and it makes me smell awful. I'll just do it. What are you? You're not cool like the Marlboro Man. You're not cool like James Dean. Oh, you had to have some clue that it was bad for you, right? I mean, even way back then. You know, there were guys going, yeah, what are you doing? You're inhaling smoke and tar? Why would you do that? Just like with vaping. So when I was talking to my kids about this, we had the vaping talk. They already know smoking's bad. Everybody knows smoking's bad. But with vaping, I said, well, that person's not smoking, they're vaping. They're like, what's that? I go, well, you know what water vapor is. They're like, yeah, sure. When you heat up water, it starts to evaporate, and that's the vape. Evaporate, right? And I said, well, some people, they figure they can just inhale water vapor and it's fine. I was like, but they mix up with these chemicals. And I said, girls, the only thing you guys need to be inhaling, and before I could finish, my 7-year-old just blurts out, clean, fresh air. I said, yes, which is made of, and then my 5-year-old says, oxygen. And I said, sure, and whatever nitrogen and other, trace gases are in our atmosphere. As long as don't go huffing paint, don't go huffing gas, don't go sniffing glue, don't go inhaling smoke. I mean, would you do that? You see a burning building? Let me go get some of that. And just go, no, you wouldn't do that. So, look, I know it's big business, and I know, these are largely unregulated. But between people getting blowed up in their faces, and then, I don't know, some kid died, and now they're cracking down on how these things can be marketed, which, look, it's the same thing. It's the same thing as smoking. It's just following the same pattern. You go, I thought it was safe. No, it's not safe. You're putting some sort of battery-powered hot water heater in your mouth, and then you're inhaling these chemicals. You don't know what's in it. Well, just sell it. I say, here you go. Yeah, you don't know how this stuff works. It's pretty stupid. Just go out, inhale some air, drink water, get in the gym. That's what you should be doing. Silly Jewel. Get some of that Jewel juice. Oh, there is no Dana, only Jewel. All right. Ron Hart texted me back. He's on for 220. We're going to talk to Ron Hart in a little bit. We're also going to talk about MSNBC. How do they keep their license with all the false stories, not fake news, but false reporting that's going on at MSNBC? And then also I want to tell you about the Twitter harassment that I've launched on one James Strickland, mayor of Memphis.
Mr. Strickland, mayor!
We'll do all that next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
We've got a new show for you. Every Sunday at 5, hosts Kendrick and Matt are well-known, well-respected, well-loved makeup artists in Memphis. They know all the who's who, what to do, where to go, and who to see. With a combined 25-plus years in the industry, including fashion and styling, and their love of a good party, they are your go-to resource. So tune in Sundays at 5 for Hot Sauce.
Hey, are you ready for your new baby?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the ABCs of infant safe sleep?
No, what's that?
Babies should sleep alone, on their back, and in their own crib.
Wow, I didn't know that. Thanks.
For more information regarding infant safe sleep, contact the Shelby County Health Department at 901-222-9000 or log on to shelbytnhealth.com. Funding for this was provided by Tennessee Department of Health.
Hi, this is Ludi Calloway, the mortgage lady with iBank Mortgage. What's going on in the home mortgage business? After several years of record low interest rates, a terrible recession, and plummeting home values, things are finally turning around. But what does that mean to those interest rates and home values? What's Congress going to do to us? Join me Monday morning at 8 and I'll tell you what's happening in today's still changing mortgage world. It's the mortgage lady with Ludi at iBank. Every Monday morning at 8. You ask the questions, I'll give you the answers.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, stop. Don't do anything until you talk to my man, James Underwood. James Underwood has been helping people like you navigate the Mid-South real estate market for more than a decade. So whether you're looking to buy your first home or you want to upgrade to your forever home, James Underwood can help make it happen. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just a rock-solid guy that I've known for 25 years. So now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up James Underwood with CryLike. JamesUnderwood.crylike.com. That's JamesUnderwood.crylike.com.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I talk with healthcare professionals to bring you the latest wellness information Tuesdays and Thursdays on Live Life Well. Listen in and get tips like this to help you get started on your road to wellness.
The highest hurdle most of us ever get over is getting started on doing something every day. Start with a 5-minute walk every day. Have some comfort close by bedside. Jump on your treadmill, your stationary bike, or your sidewalk. Do 5 minutes and then go take a shower and get ready for your morning.
I'm Bernadette Davis, and I've got you covered every Tuesday and Thursday on Live Life Well. Listen in during the Mary Beth Conley Show, streaming live on KWAM, thevoice.com.
A beautiful day in the Memphis Metro. That's right, 85 and sunny here in the Nation of Jake. From the studios of KWAM, The Voice in East Memphis, FM 107.9, AM 990. I hope it's like this on Saturday for the Tigers taking on Ole Miss at the Liberty Bowl. I don't want it to be too hot. I hope there's a little bit of cloud cover to get some a little bit of a reprieve from the sun. Don't want to get all burnt up out there. Just got to remember the sunscreen and whatnot. I saw a tweet here. Checking in on game week prep at Tiger Lane. They got the facade replaced on the entry towers and some damaged asphalt replaced in lot 14 there at the Liberty Bowl in Tiger Lane. That's cool because, you know, every time you go into the Liberty Bowl, all last year, there's some scaffolding and tarps. And it was unsightly, and I think it's good that we have that kind of stuff all fixed up. So that's good. The mayor's office, Kyle Veazey over there, is keeping everybody informed on the hometown stadium. But it does raise the question, where does Strickland stand on national issues like the wall? Well, I mean, thanks for with the attention to the hometown stadium here for the Tigers game on Saturday. But Jim Strickland, how can he be an effective mayor of Memphis if he won't weigh in on the national issues? At least that's some of the criticism he is getting from one of the challengers, Tammy Sawyer. Tammy Sawyer's like, you can't separate Memphis issues from national issues. You gotta take a stand, don't you? Yeah, so where are you on the wall? In fact, where are we contributing to the wall at all? I mean, I know that we got all the paving, all the potholes. You got city halls falling apart. But really, I mean, we need to be focused on the right things. That would be the wall at the southern border. I mean, really, how can Mayor Strickland,
Mr. Strickland, Mayor,
effectively run Memphis and attract development here if he doesn't take a stand on the national issues? I mean, if you think about it, if Jim Strickland refuses to speak out against the possibility that Donald Trump took development money from Russian oligarchs, we have to assume that all this development, all this momentum in Memphis, we have to assume that it's funded by Russian oligarchs, don't we? I mean, if the mayor refuses to take a stand on this kind of stuff. I mean, really. I mean, the interstate shootings that have been going on. I mean, I got to say, the mayor of Memphis was focused on what was going on in the interstate. So he, as a Democrat, worked with the state, a very red state, Tennessee Highway Patrol, worked with Governor Lee on getting more presence on the interstate. I mean, I'm thinking that he should be more involved with all the shootings that have been going on in Los Angeles, because it's a national story, right? How about in the water? How about the aquifer here in Memphis, the Memphis Sands Aquifer, where we get our water? There was some danger as to arsenic levels and whatnot, very close, maybe threatening the aquifer. The whole thing with the TVA. Yeah, but what about the water in Flint, Michigan? Well, Has Mayor Strickland?
Mayor! Mr. Strickland!
Has he come out with a statement about what's going on with Flint, Michigan? Because that's more of a national story. Take a stand, Mr. Mayor, focused on Memphis. How can you separate the Memphis issues from the national issues? Coming up, MSNBC. Oh, speaking of those Russian oligarchs and the Deutsche Bank.
CBS News at the top of every hour and the most local talk in the Mid-South. This is KWAM Memphis.
This is CBS News on the Hour. Real news, real reporting.
I'm Pam Coulter. The entire state of Florida is now under an emergency declaration as it braces for the arrival of Hurricane Dorian, which could make landfall as a Category 4 storm. Governor Ron DeSantis is working on emergency preparations.
I did speak with the president, letting him know that we're working hard to be prepared, and he assured us that we're going to get all the support that we need from the federal government, and including money from FEMA.
CBS's David Begnaud.
Puerto Rico dodged a bullet as the storm changed course at the last minute. Floridians are being told, don't take a chance.
I'm not that concerned, but I think it's better to be safe than sorry.
I went through Andrew and I lost my house, so that made me ready.
Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis is asking people to stock up with 7 days worth of supplies.
The hurricane's expected to hit land late this weekend. A Justice Department report concludes former FBI Director James Comey violated agency policies in his handling of memos documenting his conversations with President Trump, but he will not be prosecuted. CBS News legal analyst Jonathan Turley.
The report is in sharp contrast to how Comey himself has portrayed his conduct. After Comey effectively leaked this information to the media, many defended him and said that these were like his personal diaries. They were not. As many of us noted at the time, this was clearly FBI material, and James Comey clearly violated FBI rules as well as Department of Justice rules.
20-year-old James Reardon Jr. is facing federal charges in connection with his alleged threats to open fire at a Jewish community center in Youngstown, Ohio. U.S. Attorney Justin Herdman.
This case is the result of a concerned citizen who took the time to point out Mr. Reardon's social media activity to a new Middletown police officer. This case is just one over the past several weeks that are the product of our friends and neighbors seeing something and then saying something.
The U.S. economy slowed a bit more than first thought in the second quarter of the year.
The Commerce Department says the strong growth we've been seeing in consumer spending over the past few years is now offset by declining exports and a smaller inventory build. Gross domestic product increased at a 2% annualized rate. That's revised down from a 2.1 pace estimated last month. The economy overall grew at just over 3% in the January-March quarter, expanding 2.6 in the first half of the year. Bill Rakoff, CBS News.
The Dow's up 331, NASDAQ up 116. This is CBS News.
The CBS World News Roundup Late Edition with Jim Chenevey.
President Trump held a series of meetings today on the border wall.
Every weeknight on the CBS Radio Network.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but you thought it'd be too hard or take too much time? Then go to Babbel.com, download the app, and try it for free. In just 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. And right now, you can try Babbel for free. Babbel starts out teaching you words and phrases by matching them with pictures. You won't believe how easy the interactive program is. Soon the sentences get a little bigger, and before you know it, you're having simulated conversations voiced by native speakers. And because Babbel is crafted by language experts and uses the spaced repetition method, in just 10 to 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking the language of your choice with real confidence. With Babbel, you can speak a language. Just go to Babbel.com and start your first lesson in the language of your choice for free. Download the Babbel app or go to Babbel.com and try it for free. That's Babbel.com.
One man's kayak paddling skills were tested in Georgia.
Bo Story was in his kayak in a Georgia pond practicing for a bass fishing tournament. What creeped up behind him was no fish. It was a 10-foot alligator.
It came within probably 5 feet of the back of my kayak, surging, coming at me, and I just nonstop paddled till I got in my truck.
Paddled away to safety. Later, sheriff's deputies, a hunter, and another man wrestled with and killed the gator. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
It's Tomatina time in eastern Spain. More than 20,000 people are involved in the annual street battle with tomatoes. 145 tons of tomatoes were delivered for the tomato-throwing event in Buñol that leaves participants in streets covered in red pulp. Tomato tossers use swim goggles to protect their eyes, and public showers are available after the hour-long midday battle. Pam Coulter, CBS News.
Are you more than $10,000 in debt? Feel like you're on a never-ending treadmill, staying in one place and never getting ahead with those minimum payments? You feel like there's no way out? Don't let the credit card companies bully you anymore. There are programs in place to help you get free of your debt, and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. The program at Total Financial Freedom can help you get debt-free in months instead of decades. Get off the debt treadmill and stop the harassment. Get free of credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and medical bills. Call now at 800-899-8922 for free information. For about 10 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands. They're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, too. Get off the endless cycle without having to declare bankruptcy. You'll have the right to settle your debt for a mere fraction of what you owe. Call Total Financial now at 800-899-8922. That's 800-899-8922.
Damn, boy. That's what I'm talking about, Jake.
I've worked in the private sector. They expect results.
Welcome to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. We're online, KWAMTheVoice.com. The YouTube channel still streaming, going strong for the first hour on YouTube. Hour 2 here coming up. I'm still streaming. Yeah. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's Nation of Jake. One word, Nation of Jake. You can also follow me on the Facebook and on the Twitter at Nation of Jake. I was on Facebook yesterday, and I saw an old report featuring our very own Earl Farrell of the Earl Farrell for Memphis show. He was doing a little piece on the Bartlett Band back in the 80s, interviewing John Cook, the Bartlett Band director. And then he was marching around with a trombone. He had his slide trombone, and Earl Farrell looked just like Chevy Chase back in the day. He looked exactly like Vacation-era Chevy Chase. Fletch is who Earl... He looked exactly like Fletch. In fact, I took a screenshot from the video of Earl playing the trombone, and I put it right next to Chevy Chase playing the trumpet in the You Can Call Me Al video with Paul Simon, and is indistinguishable from one another, those two. So we will talk to Earl about his days of reporting 30 years ago with Jerry Tate on Channel 3, looking like Chevy Chase. We'll do that towards the end of the show. That's more of an end-of-the-show thing when Earl gets here. We'll also jump on the news cruise in a little bit. We'll talk to Ron Hart about the big news of the day, this James Comey story. All right, the investigator general of the DOJ says that James Comey pretty much violated a bunch of rules with regards to leaking memos, keeping memos that he wrote. When he was fired, you're not allowed to take that stuff with you, just like anywhere else you work. You could say it's like the property of the company that was paying you, whatever it is. You look at any employment agreement, that's in there. Whatever you do on the clock while you're in the employ of a company, that's theirs. And then if you don't like that, then work into your contract that you get to keep your own stuff or be some sort of contractor. But as the director of the FBI, the rules are you don't get to take FBI documents with you when you leave. He did that. He did leak them, not directly to the media. He gave it to his friend, and he told his friend to give it to a reporter. So he's saying, hey, I'm vindicated. I didn't give it to the media. Yeah. So he is a liar and a leaker, just like the president said. And so, but again, there's no resolution to it. He won't be prosecuted. And that's really what gets me, is the lack of resolution on pretty much every story that is in the news cycle in the year of our Lord 2019. The story comes out, everybody gets really angry, and then the story goes away. It may resurface, but everybody just gets very angry. There's a lot of pounding of fists and gnashing of teeth, and no real resolution. I read another story today. Jeffrey Epstein, the FBI is now investigating 2 broken cameras outside his cell. 2 broken cameras. That's right, they weren't just malfunctioning. Not 1 broken camera. 2 broken cameras. The cameras that just happened to be outside Jeffrey Epstein's cell were broken at the moment that he committed suicide. That is shady. But again, the FBI, they might find that, there's some people, they acted with extreme carelessness. But you know what? He's dead and he's suicided. The medical examiner said so. And so whatever. No resolution. It'll just move on. But so we sometimes, and what really makes me mad, what really grinds my gears, is when we got all this news that comes out and it's really hard to process. It's when all these news outlets, quote unquote, news outlets, when they decide to make up stories or help a story along. We've seen this before. It happened just yesterday. Larry O'Donnell, I guess his given name is Lawrence. He hosts a show called The Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell. Lawrence O'Donnell is got to be one of the least likable people on planet Earth. He's got a highly punchable face, slappable really. Just slap him. Big old forehead, and nobody likes him. There's no way anybody likes this guy. So, he's not just in competition with the guys at CNN and Fox News. He's also in competition with people at his own network. Rachel Maddow's like the face of MSNBC. And then O'Donnell's got his little late night show, is The Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell. He was actually on with Rachel Maddow, and he said this on her show. He discussed how Trump was able to obtain loans when nobody else would loan him any money. That's part of Donald Trump's whole story, is that, he filed for bankruptcy. He bit off a little more than he could chew out in Vegas and Atlantic City, the Taj Mahal, and all that stuff. And so when nobody else would loan him money, he went to the Russians. At least that's the speculation. So Lawrence O'Donnell says on MSNBC, I may have some information in this next hour, which would add a great deal to their understanding of that, if true. I'll be discussing it here. I stress if true, because this is a single source who has told me that Deutsche Bank obtained tax returns. This single source, close to the Deutsche Bank, has told me that Donald Trump's loan documents there show that he has co-signers. That's how he was able to obtain those loans, and that the co-signers are Russian oligarchs. That's right. So Russia comes back into this because of a source that he has that says that Deutsche Bank obtained these tax returns. All right, I think that his source was Donnie Deutsch and not somebody at Deutsche Bank. It was another guy on MSNBC. Donnie Deutsch was his, what a terrible name, Donnie Deutsch. Anyway, so all these guys are clowns. This is MSNBC. You got Maddow, you got Larry O'Donnell, you got Donnie Deutsch, and you got the rest. Well, Larry O'Donnell has had to apologize. He has had to apologize because the report is untrue. It's anonymously sourced. It's not true, and I think that he got a cease and desist letter or some sort of threatened legal action because he's out there reporting things that aren't true. So here's Lawrence O'Donnell apologizing for it.
Last night on this show, I discussed information that wasn't ready for reporting. I repeated statements a single source told me about the president's finances and loan documents with Deutsche Bank, saying, if true, as I discussed the information, was simply not good enough. Of
course it's not good enough. You could say something that is clearly not true, and then on the condition, if true, big if true, that if is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that phrase. People say, oh yeah, look, I said if true, but it wasn't enough.
Did not go through the rigorous verification and standards process here at MSNBC before repeating what I heard from my source. Had it gone through that process, I would not have been permitted to report it. I should not have said it on air or posted it on Twitter. I was wrong to do so.
All right, and now what? And now what happens to Lawrence O'Donnell, a guy who works for MSNBC, which is loosely a news organization? What happens? You get fired, reprimanded, nothing. No, just go apologize for it. I mean, you essentially told a lie on air and reported it. If true, I made sure to say, hey, if this is true, this is big. It's like, that's irresponsible. But again, he won't get in trouble for this. No, he won't get in trouble. And what would you expect from the network that still employs Brian Williams? Yeah, Brian Williams, he's the NBC Nightly News guy. If you recall, good old Brian Williams, who lied about being shot down in a helicopter. Didn't happen. He lied about watching dead bodies float past him during Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. Didn't happen. That guy still gets paid a lot of money to report on MSNBC. Well, how about when Rachel Maddow over at MSNBC told the world, tweeted, and then she teased up on her show, I've got him, Donald Trump's tax returns. Everybody tunes in. Oh, what's in these tax returns? Well, it's a single tax return from like 2005. And it showed that Donald Trump paid $38 million in taxes that year. Way more percentage than guys like Mitt Romney and Joe Biden and Barack Obama. He paid a higher tax rate. He paid more in taxes in that 1 year than most people will generate in their entire lives. And that was supposed to be like some big bombshell from MSNBC. That was embarrassing, wasn't it? And the fact they got Donnie Deutsch on their whole... The only thing worth watching on MSNBC is those prison shows. That's the only thing worth watching. If you watch MSNBC, I mean, you're just watching what you hope will be news. Really, it's just you're getting stories and headlines about what Rachel Maddow and Lawrence O'Donnell hopes happens, because that's really what it was. Lawrence O'Donnell, nobody watches his show, nobody cares about him and his big fat face, and so what he'll do is he's like, oh, I got some big if true, right? Oh yeah, this is big. I stress if true, because it's a single source who has told me that Deutsche Bank obtained these tax returns, and Donald Trump's got Russian oligarch co-signers on loans. It's like, okay, all right. Yeah, Donald Trump is in bed with the Russians. He has Russian investors, and he's compromised. And it's like, okay, don't you think that Mueller would have found that? Don't you think that Robert Mueller would have found that? I think so. I would hope so. Again, Robert Mueller really didn't instill confidence in people during those hearings. Maybe he just wasn't looking. He didn't care. Hell, I don't think that Mueller, or the guys working for Robert Mueller, because I don't think Robert Mueller even read the report. The people working for Robert Mueller hate Trump so much, and they had access to anything they wanted. You don't think that the Mueller report would have covered that, and that somehow an anonymous source, tells Lawrence O'Donnell, and that, oh yeah, this is the big story. This is, idiots. All right, coming up, we've got Ron Hart. I'd like to talk to him about this big bombshell with James Comey. That's right, James Comey violated every rule in the book with regards to classified FBI documents, leaking them, taking them with him, keeping them in a safe, giving them out to his friends, but no prosecution. No prosecution. James Comey says, see, I told you I didn't leak anything. And we'll talk to Ron Hart about that and more coming up next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
For baby boomers, here's something to think about. Will you have enough income during your retirement? Are you absolutely sure? Do you understand the difference between growth and income? How about bonds and bond funds? Are you 100% ready for RMDs? Do you have an estate plan? If you've said no to any of these, we can help. Right now, log on to theretirementincomeDoctor.com and tune in our brand new radio show right here, Saturday mornings at 10 a.m.
Samson Towing reminds all motorists, every 6 days a tow truck driver is killed while helping stranded motorists on the road. While driving, avoid distractions like texting. Keep a lookout for tow truck drivers. They are first responders on the road. Driving cautiously may save a life. That's courtesy of Chris and your good friends at Samson Towing in Walls. For more information on your 24-hour towing needs, call 662-360-9285. They also buy junk or unwanted cars, and they're always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction.
Free Talk Live.
I wanted to run some new ideas I had past you guys.
Okay, cool. We'll be your sounding board there, Prez.
Ice Cream Day.
I love Ice Cream Day. It's awesome. We should have Ice Cream Month and different flavors, just like Baskin Robbins.
Every Friday, Americans get free ice cream.
Now, I don't know about that. Now, wait a minute.
From where, George? Ice Cream Angel's going to bring it down?
Free Talk Live, Sunday through Friday nights on KWAM, The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Did you know that your potential customers look at your website and determine your credibility within 8 seconds? Make sure your business reflects the quality service you provide. Contact Control Alt Design for a free quote today. Today's marketplace is very competitive and you need a professional web presence. Control Alt Design offers web design at a fraction of what the larger firms charge. Control Alt Design has been helping local businesses stand out on the web for over 20 years. They also offer logo design, business card design, flyers, brochures, and more. See their work today at controlaltdesign.com.
Your dog is a furry member of your family and they deserve the highest level of care. Dogtopia has award-winning daycare, boarding, and spa services. They are the safest, cleanest, and most transparent dog daycare and boarding option for you. The best part? You can check in with your dog anytime on the video stream on your phone. Dogtopia, located at Carriage Crossing. Find out more at dogtopia.com to schedule your dog's best day ever.
Hello, I'm Bishop Terry Stive, Bishop of Memphis in Tennessee, and I invite you to join us each week for the Catholic Cafe.
And I'm your host, Deacon Jeff, here to tell you about the wonderful sponsors that make the Catholic Cafe possible. Southern Eye Associates meets nearly every medical and surgical eye care need on the web at southerneyememphis.com. Listen to a full hour of the Catholic Cafe, Sundays starting at 10 a.m., right here at KWAM, the voice of Memphis.
The Dave Ramsey Show, weekdays from 9 to noon.
Do I care if you get out of debt? Yes, I want you to win. I want you to have a great life. But do I care if you agree with me? No, I don't care if you agree with me. If you don't agree with me about this money stuff, you're what's known as wrong. I've been doing this longer than most of my critics. They were peeing in their diaper while I was doing this stuff.
The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. Online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube. The YouTube stream can be found on the YouTube channel. Nation of Jake, one word, run it all together, Nation of Jake. You can also follow me on Facebook and on Twitter. I'd be very appreciative if you did, at Nation of Jake on both Facebook and the Twitter. Beautiful day here in Memphis, Tennessee, 85, 86 degrees, sunny, not a cloud in the sky. Can't wait to get out of here and go do something outside. This weekend, we've got Memphis versus Ole Miss to kick off the college football season at the Liberty Bowl. Wonder if Ron Hart will be there. Ron, I've run into you at the Memphis Ole Miss matchup before. Will you be in town this weekend?
I'm there, my friend.
You will be.
Flying in. Yeah, flying in Saturday morning on a tailgate. They're at the tailgate deal. I'm going to fly out Sunday and play Chickasaw Country Club, which has been redone, I understand.
Yep.
I understand it's really nice. So I'm going to play with some old buddies there, bring my son, my daughter, my tiny grandbaby. Never been to a Memphis Ole Miss game in Memphis yet. Where the Tigers are, by the way, a 6.5-point favorite. What are they?
Yeah, they're favored to win. I mean, Ole Miss is got some problems right now with the old NCAA and whatnot, and they're kind of in a rebuilding mode. But the Tigers can take advantage. I'm looking forward to it. But I'm going to text you when I get there. I'll be down there around 9 a.m. And so we'll definitely have to hook up. We'll get a photo. We'll get a.
I'll be right in there. We'll be right in there. Yeah, we're going to go in there. It'll be good. We'll pick up an hour, come in there. It'll be fun. Leaving Saturday morning early. It'll be fun. Fun cruise. So, it'll be fun. I look for that big game this year. I'm going to go to the UT Memphis basketball game in December, whenever that is. I pick all the big spots.
All right, good. So that's how you got to. That's how you got to roll. That's how Ron Hart does it. The nationally syndicated columnist Ron Hart. All right, hey man. So we got the big news today about the Inspector General, who has a report on James Comey, pretty much saying that he did everything wrong. That he took government documents. He leaked them, not to the media, but he leaked them. He kept them in a safe. He did everything wrong, but there's no prosecution. And I'm just like, what? Do they ever prosecute anybody for doing anything wrong?
Yeah, not in the government. Lois Lerner got away. I mean, James Comey is a pious. He's what's wrong with government. He is actually the poster boy with what's wrong with government. He thinks the rules do not apply to him. He exercises his own political judgment on everything he does. And he's a drama queen. There hasn't been a drama queen that had the FBI since J. Edgar Hoover. I mean, I can't imagine how tall James Comey would be in heels. If he wore J. You can't fit J. Edgar Hoover's shoes, his heels. It'd be like 6'12", something like that.
Massive.
But,
some might call that 7 foot. Some might call that 7 foot. But I'm with you. It's 6'12". 6'12".
I think that's the metric system you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, but So basically, Comey's he's an awful individual. And so is McCabe. So is Stroke, whatever his name is. Now, these people need to be taken out. And the problem is, if you don't do anything to them now, it's not so much that they deserve anything. I'm not a punitive person. They got to send a message to the rest of the deep state, the rest of the big government that we all have to cow down to. So, like, you guys aren't in charge. We're America. Voters are in charge here, not bureaucracies, not you guys, not your egos. I mean, just take them out to the woodshed. I don't care what you do to them. I'm not talking about prison time, but it's not let this happen anymore, because government should not be ruling us like that. They're not.
How about just apply it evenly? All right, so we've got James Comey, who the IG found that he broke FBI policies, that he took all these memos, he kept them in a safe. He actually gave memos to his buddy, who then he told to give to a reporter, but then he claims that he didn't leak it out to the media. In fact, he leaked it to a friend who he told to leak it to the media. So, but
right.
I guess my point is this.
Columbia professor.
My point is this. You've got guys like Edward Snowden. You've got guys like Julian Assange who are guilty of leaking information. I mean, that's what they've done, right? And those guys are in exile, and those guys are in prison. But I guess if you work for the government, or if you're in the deep state, whatever it is, if you're a Comey or a Hillary Clinton or even a Donald Trump, when you do wrong, when you violate policies, there's just no consequences for these people.
Right. I mean, the worst case you get is a lateral promotion, right? In these jobs, or a full pension. So,
or you get to write it. You get to write a book. You get to write a book and then go get paid to be on CNN as a consultant.
Right.
Right.
Right. So you appear on CNN. You write a book. You're the hero of the left. You're Blasey Ford, that woman who lied about being raped or whatever she was by Kavanaugh. I mean, you're like a hero of the left. You're not. There's no repercussions to what you do. There's nothing. So I mean, if you're on the right, you said if you're Mitt Romney, if you're George Bush Jr., George Bush Sr., any Republican, you just sit there and take it on the chin from these guys forever and ever and ever and ever. And one thing about Trump, he's pushing back, and I hope he really does here, because look, this is not personal. You're not looking to ruin the life of like a Patrick Michael Flynn or whatever, or Carter Page, or people whose lives have been ruined. We're not really looking to do that. We're really looking to set a broader context on which we go forward, which is government is not our ruler. Government are not beyond the rules. If you're Comey, you're Brennan, and you're Clapper, and you lie as a matter of your business to enhance your own political views, that's not done through our government, which is supposed to be neutral.
Right. Well, no, you're not supposed to politicize the FBI or any other branch of law enforcement. The one thing, though, you brought up, if you're a Republican, you just got to take it. I'm going to view this as in a different kind of paradigm, Ron Hart. It's not even about left versus right and Republican versus Democrat. This is us versus them, because we've got a Republican president and an attorney general who is appointed by that Republican president, and he will go so far, just like James Comey did with Hillary Clinton. We will go so far as to have a report that says that James Comey violated all these rules, but we're not going to prosecute. We have a Republican attorney general who will not prosecute James Comey. James Comey was always a registered Republican, but this is more of a is this a divide between like us and them, like civilians, and then these deep state guys, these guys who are in the club. Now, where does the club start and end? Because Michael Flynn apparently wasn't in the club, because Michael Flynn went to jail. But James Comey, he's not going to jail. I just want to know who's in the club and who's not.
Well, he might. I mean, it's not over for Comey. Look, the way Washington runs is two ways: reputationally and financially. So he'll have to hire attorneys. There'll be a bunch of the government's free, right? And the mindset of the government, the DOJ, the FBI, which has an $8 billion $8 billion a year budget. They're unlimited. They don't care what happens. It's not their money. They'll sue you. Whatever. So Comey's got to hire attorneys and just make it hard on him. Usually the process is the crime, is the punishment.
Right.
As they're not saying the process is the punishment. So they put Michael Flynn through this. He lost his house. This guy's a patriot. It's a shame what they did to him. Carter Page, you name the people. It's a shame what they did to these people.
Well, but
Manafort was a bad egg. He should have. I mean, Manafort was a bad guy. Cohen probably a bad guy, but they're all swept up politically in this thing. If you're a good government, you're good at your enforcement. You should have got these guys 7, 8, 12 years ago. Don't make it political. Don't get them because they're Trump friends.
Well, but it also goes back to they're not going to send the former FBI director to jail. I mean, he knows too much stuff. I mean, he knows everything.
He would, because if he's done what they say he's done, what I sense he's done, I think he should spend some time in jail.
But he's in the club, dude. He's in the club. That's what I'm saying. It's like these guys are all buddies. They're all buddies.
The club president just changed when Trump came in, right?
Right. I guess. It drives me insane.
How deep is the deep state? How deep is the deep state? Can the deep state keep this guy from going to jail? Because here's the real story. And I always talk about this. No one listens to this stuff. This is what it comes down to. If you want to indict somebody in Washington D.C., a town that voted 95% for Hillary, it's like you go in there and look at these grand juries. It looks like people waiting on test results in the free clinic. I mean, these are not average Americans, right? They're all Democrats. So you're not going to indict a Democrat in Washington D.C. It's not fair. It's not right. But that's what it is. The reason they go in and get indictments on Republicans all the time is that Washington D.C. is a loony town. It's not America. So the only good ruling they've gotten in the Manafort case and others has been from this Virginia judge that they went outside and he said, "What are you doing here? This is a political prosecution." So they've got to go to friendly Obama appointees to get what they want. The left has always controlled the judiciary. And they go to these people, they get these rulings, and eventually the Supreme Court overrules it. That's the game we play in America right now.
Now, you can't even get anybody to prosecute these guys, though. I mean, it's insane. Now, we got Ron Hart here, nationally syndicated columnist. Now, we got word last night that the Democrat primary is down a man, or a woman, I should say. Kirsten Gillibrand has dropped out of the race.
An awful person, by the way. An awful person.
I agree. I just want to know who's going to get her voter. Like who's going to benefit by getting that voter to vote for them now? How do you divide up 0%? 0% support. How do you divvy that up? So
the angry woman voter has never been violated, but always is on guard against being violated. I mean, she's awful. I mean, she's so divided America by making every woman a victim and men bad. I mean, how bad is it you divide the country among genders that every man's a predator? Every man's bad. All the women, every woman are victims. I mean, if I'm a woman, I would be offended by being told I'm a victim all the time. Like most women I know, 97% of them are strong women who can get a cat call from a construction site and not crumble. I mean, she assumes everybody's, all the women are victims and they cannot, and every man's a predator. I mean, she's an awful woman. I mean, and de Blasio, by the way, is bad.
De Blasio is bad. He's worse. He's the worst one of the bunch. Oh, yeah. I hear de Blasio is only running for president because everybody in New York hates him and he doesn't want to be there. So he can just go out on the road. That's the only reason he's running. It's terrible.
In my view, he's 6'7", arguably too tall to govern,
Yeah. Just big
I don't know what that means.
oafy. No, he's just an oafy, goofy guy. Like, just get out of
here. Yeah, he's a weird dude.
Listen, there's tall. There's about 6'3". There's like Earl Farrell, 6'3". You're strong. And then anything over that, you're just a big old oaf. Like, just get out of here, you freak.
He's an idiot. He married a lesbian African. He's checking all the boxes. Married an African American woman's a lesbian. Says she's not a lesbian anymore, but I haven't on good advice. She still has a Subaru. So,
Ron Hart's here. So you wrote about Biden. I think after our discussion about Joe Biden, there was a poll that said that he was tanking, but then they said Monmouth University said, "Oh, by the way, that poll's garbage." He's actually up. He's up double digits still. But I'm kind of worried about Joe. Did you see this video of Joe Biden forgetting President Obama's name?
Yeah, I mean, it's sad. I mean, these candidates are the age, mid-70s, 6-year-old, he and Bernie Sanders, upper 70s, there's the age which you and I are thinking about taking the keys away from our parents' car.
Yeah.
And they run them for president. I mean, who does that? And they're getting too old. I mean, look, Trump is a machine. I have to answer. I mean, he's fueled by McDonald's and KFC. But he looks good. He hasn't aged in office. It doesn't bother him. He's got high energy. He's cognitive. He's lucid. He's got it figured out. But Biden clearly, I I mean, Biden feels very strongly he's the best possible candidate to beat Nixon in the fall.
Exactly. He was, man, this dude was taught, like, to your point, he was talking about the late 70s. He was remembering MLK assassination and Bobby Kennedy in the late 70s. I mean, the guy is, being a gaffe machine and just being a goofball that he's always been is one thing. But then when he starts to really, the more you see him, the less you like him. If you're a Democrat, I mean, that's something they say about ball players. Like, guys having a good week, but the more you see him, the less you like him. If you are a Democrat voter, the more that Joe goes out there and he gives these speeches and all these flubs and gaffes, you can't feel real good about him being, he's a front runner by double. I mean, he's doubling up Warren and doubling up Sanders. They really, I mean, I think that points to more about how unpopular all the policies are of Warren and Sanders because they're socialists. Right.
Yeah, I mean, the most are polling at 2%, right under near low-fat milk, or somewhere in that area. And the only reason, in my view, and I said in the column, the only reason Biden's still alive today, he's too old to remember much to testify against the Clintons or Obamas. That's the only reason he's alive.
Can't even remember Obama's name, man. That was embarrassing. Yeah. Kind of
hard
sad.
To testify against him. Obama would not endorse him. Obama is a complete political shill. I mean, what sort of loyalty do you know? I mean, just endorse the poor guy and then let him get out and go to somebody else because Obama's. I mean, he's your guy. He's your vice president for 8 years. You don't step up and endorse him. I mean, good Lord.
Yeah, well, President Obama, he's out at his $15 million estate there at Martha's Vineyard. Yeah, I mean,
when global warming. And he's only got 10 years left to go, so I hope he has like a 9-year mortgage or something like that.
Yeah, because the vineyard's going to be underwater in the 9 or 10 years.
I'm surprised he did that, given the vineyards are going to be underwater in 10 years. He really put $15 million down. Something that'll be underwater in a few years. If you really believe in global warming, you think Obama would have bought a Martha's Vineyard place?
No, he's not. No, he's got that man. He's got that Netflix money now.
Yeah, he got Netflix money, and Biden made $15 million his first year out of office. You talk about your Green New Deal. He ain't got a Green New Deal.
No, it's not green at all. Hey, by the way, speaking of Netflix, Ron, I can't recommend enough the Dave Chappelle special, Sticks and Stones. Have you seen it yet?
Oh, he's brilliant. I went to the concert. Yeah, I love this guy.
Yeah, he's the best. He's turning people on their ears. He's like the new George Carlin, if you ask me, which nobody did, but I'm just going to say it. All right, Ron Hart, we'll see.
Put the mirror up. I'll see you at the tailgate for the Tigers game.
Yep, make sure I'll come look for you. Go Tigers. We'll see Ron on Saturday at Tiger Lane. You can read his latest column online. Just Google Ron Hart. It'll take you to a number of places. OCRegister.com. Chattanooga Times Free Press carries Ron's column. And so make sure to go check out what Ron has to say each week. Coming up next, we've got a leisurely look at the headlines in the news cruise. We'll do it next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
CBS News Update. The Rolling Stones concert in southern Florida will go on, but it's being moved up a day to avoid the Sunday arrival of Hurricane Dorian. It could make landfall as a dangerous Category 4 storm.
We have to be ready for everything. We don't know what could happen.
Forecasters expect Dorian to rake the Bahamas first, then reach Florida as early as Sunday night. Governor Ron DeSantis.
As this thing unfolds, we figure out where it ends up going. If you've prepared and then it doesn't end up impacting you, you're not going to be any worse off for it. But if you don't take the steps needed to prepare and then it does impact your community, you're really going to wish that you have done so.
CBS's David Begnaud has moved from Puerto Rico to Cocoa Beach, Florida.
Here in Central Florida, there are hundreds of thousands of Puerto Ricans who had been watching what was happening on their beloved island, and were happy to see that they really didn't get much of a hit at all. And now they're getting ready for the storm moving here.
CBS News Update, I'm Pam Coulter.
S&S Auto Body Repair reminds listeners that many local veterans will be returning home over the next few years. These heroes have elite military training and valuable professional skills, and they need jobs. That's why S&S Auto Body Repair is encouraging all local businesses. Let's make it the year we hire smart and hire vets. That message was courtesy of your good friends at S&S Auto Body Repair at 1411 North McNeil Street in Memphis. They're always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction.
This is Clark Howard with our continuing series on how the trade conflict with China may affect you and your wallet. It's been a really moving target with Christmas, and now we have tariffs broken into 3 categories for this year's Christmas season. The president has now done a carve-out for a lot of items that people closely comparison shop, particularly electronics, some cell phones, will no longer be subject to tariffs for this Christmas season. Clothing, many other items, still will have tariffs on them this Christmas season. And there was an analysis I just saw in the Wall Street Journal that women's clothing is a category that's going to be affected more than any other category, with significantly higher prices potentially for Christmas shopping. So this may be a year not to buy anybody clothes as a gift.
The backyard's looking great, Rob.
Thanks, man. I was planning on adding a deck, too. Know any good contractors?
Why don't you just ask Home Advisor?
Home what?
HomeAdvisor.com. You just tell them about your project and they match you with local pros that can do the job.
Nice. Now, how much does it cost?
Oh, Home Advisor's totally free to use. Plus, you can read customer reviews, check pricing, and book appointments for free.
What's the website again?
HomeAdvisor.com. Or just download the free Home Advisor app.
Home Advisor.
Hey.
Hey, Bench, what are you doing?
I'm rubbing my Blue Emu on.
Were you ready to go fishing?
Fishing?
You said we were going fishing this morning.
I have 10 Gold Glove awards.
Oh, here we go again.
Johnny Bench doesn't go fishing.
Yeah, I know.
Johnny Bench goes catching. Blue Emu supports healthy muscles and joints. Blue Emu, it works fast and you won't stink. Available at nationwide retailers and Amazon.
All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube. YouTube is very simple. You get an app, or you just go to your desktop, YouTube. You go to the Nation of Jake channel. That's right, it's a whole channel. You ain't got to flip channels, just go straight to it, Nation of Jake. And then subscribe to it, and then you'll get notifications, and then you never, ever have to go find it again. So take a couple minutes, do that. I'll give you a couple of minutes. We're putting the final touches on cleaning the barnacles off the old boat. Oh, it's ready. They're bringing it over right now. Let's hop on the news cruise. That's right, we take a leisurely look at the headlines on this boat. Beautiful day out here for sailing. News. Exciting and new. Come aboard. We're expecting you. The news cruise. Full of exciting news. The news cruise. So relax and kick off your shoes. It's easy to grin when your ship comes in and you've got the stock market beat. But the man who's worthwhile is the man who can smile when his pants are too tight in the seat. Welcome aboard. The news cruise brought to you by our friends at Just Windows Home Services. These guys can clean windows upstairs, down, inside, and out. They can also clean out your gutters. They can also change light bulbs up high and clean off your roof. They can do some pressure washing. Who do you think cleaned the barnacles off the news cruise? The guys at Just Windows Home Services. We keep it spotlessly clean with Steve and Just Windows. You can give them a call, 751-3934, 751-3934. They'll give you a free estimate on whatever you need, and then they'll knock 20% off if you tell them you heard about Just Windows on the Nation of Jake. Very, very simple, reputable, local company that would love to do business with you. 751-3934. Here in the news cruise, we got some local and national headlines. First of all, let's pay attention to this Hurricane Dorian. They're saying it's going to be a very big storm. Nice descriptors there. Oh, that was Donald Trump who said that. It'll be a very big storm as Floridians prepare for a potential Category 4. I guess they're saying that it may make landfall on Labor Day as a Category 4. It's a Category 1. It just missed Puerto Rico. I guess Puerto Rico was spared. Thank God, man. Those folks in Puerto Rico have been through enough. Hell, their electrical grid was down for like a year. So a lot of people going out without power in Puerto Rico for a long time. Forecasters believe the storm will strengthen into a dangerous Category 3 by Friday, staying well east of the southern and central Bahamas before making a turn towards Florida by Sunday afternoon. Now look, they think now, the National Hurricane Center, they think it's a Category 4 now, but a lot can happen between now and then. So, I don't know if we're supposed to nuke this thing. I don't know if you just get as many box fans as you can. Wolfman, who has researched this for me, the reliable Wolfman, he says that climate scientists say that it's not heat you need to make a hurricane dissipate. You would need something very cold. Okay? So, I don't know how you would cool the air. I guess liquid nitrogen or something like that. Just a buttload of liquid nitrogen. Just throw that into the hurricane and maybe make that thing dissipate. Weaken. You can take maybe back down to a tropical storm. So, we'll be on the lookout for Hurricane Dorian. Former Governor Bill Haslam has not ruled out a future public sector position. Well, see, he's very careful with the way he says that. Public sector position. That could be a run for office, or that could be an appointment to something, to some sort of position. He says he's not ruling out running. During an event Wednesday alongside former GOP Senator Bob Corker, Haslam said he'd be sad if he never serves in some kind of public role again. Now, Haslam says he is not going to run for Senate, the vacant seat that will be left by Senator Lamar Alexander. And here's the thing about it, man. Bill Haslam, he could run for that seat. Well, he's been told by the RNC or whoever the powers that be, he's been told that that's Bill Hagerty. That Bill Hagerty is going to run for that. That's why David Kustoff is not running at this point. That's why Bill Haslam is not running. The other guys who are running, they are Republicans, but they're not part of the establishment. Like Manny Sethi. He's a Republican, running as a Republican, but he's a surgeon. He's not in line for anything. So Bill Haslam, look, just goes to show, this guy's got billions of dollars. He runs the Pilot Travel J travel centers. He doesn't run them, he owns them. His brother owns the Browns. The Haslam family has plenty of money, but it just goes to show, money isn't everything. I would just hang out and just start a band. I would do all kinds of crazy stuff. My YouTube channel would be rocking. But this guy, I think that at some point, when you got all that money, you start to crave power or purpose. If we're going to be negative, we're going to look at it as, this guy's power hungry. But he doesn't really strike me as a guy who wants to go out and screw people over. He seems like he's a pretty righteous dude, and he wants to matter. You start thinking about, I got everything I need, material goods. What does this matter? It's kind of an existential thing, a little bit too heavy for this program. Oh man, we got this guy, Gorton. Oh man, I've been following this a little bit. Brad Broders, bro, over at Local 24. He's been covering this Ronnie Gorton trial. Well, a Tipton County jury deliberated for an hour and a half, and they found the former Mid-South youth pastor guilty on all counts in the sex abuse of an underage boy. Oh, this is gross. This whole thing was gross. Ronnie Gorton took the stand. He testified for 2 hours, and they found him guilty of all these. I mean, we're talking about dozens of counts of sexual abuse of a young boy, and he has now been jailed in segregation. So he may be in danger there in jail, and they're afraid that he may not survive. So they also maybe think that he'll be on suicide watch. So he's in ADSEG, administrative segregation. If guilty, and he was found guilty of all that stuff, I'm glad he is where he is. There's really a guy like that, there's really no place for him on the planet. And I'd be fine if, nature takes its course there on the inside. Sybil Shepherd back in the news. What's the last thing Sybil Shepherd did? I remember her from Moonlighting. I mean, I know she's from here. I know she went to East High School. Earl, you know Sybil at all?
Yeah, met her several times.
You ever go on a date with her?
No, I've danced with her before.
You've danced with Sybil Shepherd?
Yep.
Well, she's getting her, not the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She's already on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She's getting on the Peabody Duck Walk Hall of Fame.
All right.
So she will be forever
immortalized
in the Peabody.
Yeah, it was really funny. I was at the Bombay Bicycle Club we used to hang out in, and the Blue Beats would play on Friday or Saturday night.
Oh, I love the Blue Beats.
And I knew her brother, Bill Shepherd, and so we were hanging out there, and Sybil's with him, and so I'm standing there next to the bar, and we're talking. She goes, "Come on, I want to dance." And so she didn't go, "Hi, I'm Sybil Shepherd. Do you want to dance?" She said, "Come on, I want to dance." So I did. Go in.
Nice. So she just grabbed your hand. You're like, hell yeah.
To Red Wine, I remember. And then I started to walk away. She got me by the boot, the belt loop, and said, "I ain't done yet," and pulled me back on the dance floor. Danced one more time. Then she walked off. I go, "I guess you're done."
So she just kind of manhandled you.
She did.
She'd use you like
shoved me around
like a piece of meat, and you didn't mind at all.
I did not.
Yeah, I love Sybil Shepherd, man. I remember her from Moonlighting when I was a kid. She and Bruce Willis on that show. But in the 70s, she was on a Glamour magazine, Last Picture Show, Daisy Miller. She was in Taxi Driver. I forgot about that. And so, she's like one of the big names out of Memphis.
That was one of her early movies. It may have been her first movie.
Which one?
Taxi Driver. No, I think she was in Last Picture Show before that.
Yeah, I just said that.
Yeah, well, I didn't.
Come on, Earl. Jeez.
Come on.
What are you doing over there on your phone?
I'm trying to get ready for the show, man.
Hey, the Millington Performing Arts Center is now open. So you want to go see some performing arts up in Millington? I think they're going to have Dukes of Hazzard on ice, and I think they're going to have Deliverance the musical. I can't wait. Hey, did you guys hear about this new weed that's out? The Surgeon General, who, by the way, is not C. Everett Koop. This guy doesn't even have a beard. His name's Jerome. Surgeon General Jerome Adams. I had no idea he was his Surgeon General. He says, this isn't your mother's marijuana. They're issuing a national warning, the federal health officials, against marijuana use by adolescents and pregnant women, saying this is not your mother's marijuana, which is odd, because I was told my mother's marijuana wasn't very good. I don't even know my mother smoked marijuana. I'm sure once or twice. That said, back in the day, they said that marijuana would give you reefer madness and make you kill yourself. And somehow now it's worse. Here's, with regards to marijuana, don't listen to the federal government. They're total squares, and they have no idea about marijuana. None whatsoever. Good Lord. Hey, I got some unearthed video. This is great. This is video of a young guy that we all know and love. And this guy looks just like Chevy Chase, a local guy. This is amazing. It's amazing. The doppelganger, Earl's doppelganger, is Chevy Damn Chase. Who would have known? Who would have known? We'll cover that and get you set up for the Earl Farrell program next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, stop. Don't do anything until you talk to my man, James Underwood. James Underwood has been helping people like you navigate the Mid-South real estate market for more than a decade. So whether you're looking to buy your first home or you want to upgrade to your forever home, James Underwood can help make it happen. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just a rock-solid guy that I've known for 25 years. So now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up James Underwood with CryLike. JamesUnderwood.CryLike.com. That's JamesUnderwood.CryLike.com.
Planning for retirement can be confusing and overwhelming. Tune in to the Servant Retirement Show to hear the current news and events today's retirees need to know. Every Saturday morning at 8 on KWAM, The Voice, AM 990. If you want to talk to Dan Groban or Philip Menard today about your retirement plans, call the team at Servant Advisors Group, 855-260-1000. That's 855-260-1000. Get started on the path toward a comfortable retirement today. 855-260-1000.
Hey, are you pregnant and need health insurance?
Yes, I'm really in need of insurance.
Have you heard of the TennCare Presumptive Prenatal Program?
No, what is that?
It's a program where pregnant women can get 62 days of temporary Medicaid insurance coverage.
Wow, I didn't know about that. Thanks.
For more information regarding the TennCare Presumptive Prenatal Program, contact the Shelby County Health Department at 901-545-8722 or log on to shelbytnhealth.com. Funding for this was provided by the Tennessee Department of Health.
When's the last time you looked at the windows in your house? Not through the windows, but at the windows. Really looked at them. There's dirt, streaks, buildup, smudges, fingerprints, paw prints, spider webs, dead bugs, those little white speckles. I have no idea what they are, and who knows what else. Now, cleaning all the windows in your house makes a big difference, but it's also a big job. That's why you need Just Windows Home Services. Just Windows has been taking the pain out of window cleaning since 1992. Just Windows cleans all types of windows, storm windows, screens, skylights, interior, exterior, upstairs and down. Now, I know I told you the company is called Just Windows Home Services, but they do a lot more. Roof and gutter cleaning, pressure washing, mirrors, blinds, ceiling fans, light fixtures, chandeliers. Look, if you've got hard to reach areas of the house, then you need Just Windows Home Services. Call for a free estimate, 751-3934. That's 751-3934, or get them online at justwindowsmemphis.com. That's justwindowsmemphis.com. You know, Facebook sucks.
Yes, have some.
It's a time suck. It's terrible. You know, it's cool in a way, but overall, it kind of blows. That said, I mean, every once in a while, you'll find some stuff on Facebook. Like, you can follow the Nation of Jake on Facebook, this radio program, and that's probably your best bet. But also, follow Earl Farrell on Facebook, because I guess people are always posting, like, old stuff from back in the day. If you like Memphis history and you like the vintage Memphis stuff, like all the guys we grew up with, you know, Earl, you're kind of like the watcher, the ubiquitous Earl Farrell. You were everywhere. I mean, you were telling the story about dancing with Sybil Shepherd, which is amazing, how she handled you like a piece of meat you are. But yesterday, I was on Facebook, and I see Earl post up this video from a few years ago. All right, this was a video, I guess, on WREG Channel 3. A familiar face. Just as I recall, as a kid, Jerry Tate is at the anchor desk, and he's doing a story, I guess, on the Bartlett Marching Band. And you got Jerry Tate and his jet black bulletproof hair, looking good. He looks exactly like my father from the 80s. Yeah, it's amazing. So I click play, of course.
Camp. And as Earl Farrell reports, about the only difference between the two camps is the contact.
He's called the band director, but if you ever played football, you won't notice a lot of difference between a head coach and a band director. They're both.
Everything about this is awesome, okay? Everything about it is great. Go follow Earl on Facebook, because all the 80s clothes, you got this awful-sounding band in the background, and Earl's doing the voiceover.
Very demanding.
And as you go through it,
unforgiving. A lot more people play in high school marching bands than play football, but that's...
It's so funny because Earl's like telling us about the high school marching band, and then you get into the video, and Earl's playing a trombone. Do you play trombone at all?
Like a lot of
I
other
made
guys,
the whole thing up. I'd never played the trombone before. I just knew how you had to vibrate your lips and blow and move the slide back and forth.
Right. So, but it sounded like you were playing. And so, I mean, here we go. Earl's marching in formation.
Small taste of what I missed.
But what struck me about this is I'm getting these stills of Earl. I'm screenshotting them. Earl, you look just like Chevy Chase back in the day.
Yeah, every time a movie would come out with Chevy Chase, and I would go someplace, they go, "Do you know who you look like?" And I go, "No, I don't."
In this, when was it? What year was this? 80-something?
Early 80s.
Early 80s.
Yeah.
So say 83, 84.
Yep.
And that's about when Fletch came out.
Yep.
So you were looking just like Vacation Fletch Chevy Chase. So I even took a screenshot of Earl in his Chevy Chase looking face ass, and I put it next to an actual photo of Chevy Chase from the "You Can Call Me Al" video, where he's actually playing the trumpet.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I put them side by side. Dude, you look just like Chevy Chase. It's hilarious. It's awesome. I'm gonna share this video. Let's see if I can do that. I want to share this to my page, the Nation of Jake page. So if you follow Nation of Jake, you will be able to see that. And then also, I encourage you to go follow the Earl Farrell page, because you got a lot of these gems like archived, right?
Yeah, I do.
You should do like a Memphis vintage news kind of deal on Facebook. People love this kind of stuff. I'm telling you, man.
You know, I've had a number of people that I've been in the business with say, I wish we could do stories like that again, because they were just happy little features. You know?
Hey, you got John Cook, the band director at Bartlett. By the way, John Cook is my brother's name.
Yeah.
And so I sent him a screenshot of the graphic that said John Cook. I said to my brother, he goes, "Oh, is he the Bartlett band director?" I'm like, "Yeah, how'd you know?" I watched Earl's Story in 1984. All right, Earl's up next. I'll be back tomorrow at 1. So long, and thanks for all the fish.
Serving Tennessee, Mississippi, and Arkansas. The latest news stories are here. This is KWAM.